According to our projections, you'll be able to energy needed to return home.
Five of them shouldn't be too hard. I'll do the decorating later. The water supply hasn't come back yet. But there is a rodent over here. So I'll turn that in, get the decorative one, and build something decorative.
I'm quite a burden.
Still don't have corn. Have to find this Chinese plantain, so I can put in 2 of those. Alright, they got enough supplies for the moment. Nothing I need to repair before I go out. check on that later. Okay, so there is a medium animal over here. Container has washed up. Distress signal here. Mineable singularity here. I'll make my way slowly across here and get to this distress signal. Oh, probably should do this mineable singularity once I've stopped bleeding. So I'll do this first. This condition that I'm currently in shouldn't last too much longer. Hi, and thank you for watching. Playing through Survive. Sorry it took a moment for me to... I was getting my PC up so I could see the chat. Even though my health is currently low, this is not necessarily a problem. I'm trying to hold on to as much resources as I can so I'm not immediately healing. As long as you don't stand up and trade blows, you're fine. Even with, as I said, this low health. And I stopped bleeding. Wasn't very much. As long as you don't panic, they're not a threat. And in situations where you're the target rather than something else, it's easy to manipulate them. Zebra. I don't have a pin for them, so it's not too many options. And the pen that I do have is full of goats. Sometimes this place will also have, but it does not look like that's the case. Or sometimes what I'm saying is there's two sets of animals. Sometimes it's jackals and wolves. Seeing jackals and sheep. In the case of zebra, it could be because they're medium-sized animals. So some birds around. That's pretty much it. Birds pretty much go everywhere. That's interesting. It's a fun game. It's very different than Phantom Pain, even though it uses the same map. And there's a lot of things you have to do differently. Some things I don't like, and the fact is that sometimes you have to advance the storyline to get certain things that really and honestly should have been there from the beginning. And what I mean by that is you're limited on beds, for example. You can't create clean water from the start. You have to advance the game to a certain mission before you can do that. Where if this was really a mercenary, that would have been one of the first things they did. So there's some strange things, I guess, that happen over the course of a video game. But it is a game, so I see why they put it in there, I guess, to make you go forward instead of just wandering around. takes a slightly different mentality than the Phantom Pain as well. Since I'm dealing with zombies, the zombies, or basically zombies, they react differently than other creatures. This, for example, would never work in Phantom Pain. Normally, your opponents would take cover, fire at you as soon as they are able to. But here they have the same mentality of a zombie. They lose track of you. They also lose balance easy as well. You also have to keep resource management in check as well. Since every single bullet you use, you have to create yourself or find, and I haven't really found any caches of bullets. And so that has to be kept in mind, whereas in the Phantom Pain, pretty much you can return to base and stock up completely. You don't have to keep that resource management in the back of your mind. Also, like at the beginning of the stream, where I chose not to heal, that is a factor of resource management as well. If you're familiar with the map, then you will start to notice some similarities to the Phantom Pain as well. It uses from the same base map, but there are some alterations to it. So it's not a one-to-one. But if you're familiar with the basics of the map, such as where certain things are, then that is beneficial. Also wondering in the dust you have to worry about your oxygen. I haven't yet found a more advanced oxygen tank, but I think that's just a matter of playing the game. The weight limit for each trip. And it does start to impact how you can move in the world, depending upon how much weight you're carrying at a given time. If you see this thing in the back right here, that is a weak point on what seems like all of them. All of these enemies. The same such extension or part is on the bomber as well, and you can shoot a bomber right there to take them out and do far more damage than just shooting a bomber regularly.
Keep an eye on your remaining oxygen.
Although there are plenty of other ways to handle bombers.
Supply yourself with oxygen by using Kuban energy. You can
And you
supply
have that.
yourself with oxygen from your iDroid.
Also, watch out for friendly fire, since that's not an issue. Your enemies will punch through each other in order to hit you, and they won't hit each other. You need this Kuban energy to also upgrade your character. Yeah, I think you can play in co-op. I don't really do too much co-op. But I believe you can join other people's games. Also, you notice how the icon that I'm looking at appears and disappears? When you're in a clear area or you're on the road, then your iDroid can point you to your ultimate destination. But if you're wandering in the dust without a point of reference, then it won't be able to. And also, this is the only place that you can actually change your target location while in the mist or in the dust, while it has some point of reference, that being a road or, again, open areas. There's also a Lord of Dust wandering around this area too, but it's huge. It looks like a centipede, or a really mutated alien centipede. And so far I don't have anything that will damage it. Granted, I haven't placed a mine in this path and let it stumble onto it. But given how its legs look and how it looks like it's made out of pure crystal, probably not. That right there was a small wormhole opening, and it's probably dropped a few things. I think it might actually drop some wanderers too, but you can also use that to your advantage. Wanderers will react to the sound of it. Also, each time I'm doing that with coupon crystals, it not only gets more expensive, but it's damaging my oxygen tank. These containers are very useful. They usually have a blueprint of one type or another. Weapons and gear case, that's not bad. That's interesting. Maybe it's because I've already mapped the area. Or there could be another change in the game, since with many games they're always changing something. Looks or find out where something's gone wrong that they didn't intend. The stamina is also tied to your hydration. If you allow your hydration to get too low, then your stamina will also be low. Your physical health, the bar right above it, is tied to how much you've eaten. So if you haven't eaten for a while, your health will also be low as well. Or rather, your potential health will be low. That's as far as you can actually heal in any given situation. There are situations where your actual health and your potential health can be different. You can actually have more actual health than your potential health. But that just means as if you take damage, you'll only heal up to your potential. Again, not what you originally started at, when you had higher health than your potential health. If that makes any sense. You'll be able to see it as a small bar because I have food and hydration maxed out, that bar is not currently visible. Well, those are 2 misses. There were also times in which I really had to struggle for food. But that gets easier as the game goes on. That's more of a major issue during the beginning of the games. Haven't run into that issue again, but that doesn't mean I won't. I might head back to the main base and repair all my stuff and also cook the food that I've just gotten, which will cause it to last longer. I do need to test fire this. Probably won't hit it, but I need to know how loud it is. Never mind, I did hit it. Significantly loud. I could use that to my advantage. Fire from one position, take up a new position, and use that sound to pull enemies to a certain place. Or, well, I could do the same thing, place a mine down, fire it, and let the enemies run towards it. And then let the mine handle them. This game could be a little bit rough if you have a gerbil as a pet. Haven't run into any bombers, but they are pretty easy to see. They're really deformed. And if you play zombie games where you have big bloated zombie that explodes after you've done a certain amount of damage, that's a bomber. Also, you have to keep an eye on who's sick and who isn't. They don't particularly do that themselves. This actually might be a useful one. Currently have 63. This is 63 too. Pretty good durability. Heavy arrows are nicer. They don't fly as far, but that's not really that much of a problem. I'm gonna try to save up the steel and build up to this weapon because of the increased damage. Interesting enough, you can also pick up music tapes out in the wild. Let's try to hit it here. Need to go to transporter 7. Fortunately, you can teleport back and forth to various areas. This is where your keep-on energy becomes useful. Mineable singularities. I'm gonna go after this distress signal first. Then I'll do the mineable singularities. I forgot to cook. Oh, that's my fault. If I don't cook the stuff, then the food will go bad. There's no need to waste that. So this will only take a moment.
I'll never forget this.
While you're wandering around, you're also going to want to keep an ear out for animals. There are wolves and jackals that will both attack you in these open areas, should they be there, but they'll appear like that. Usually they come in pairs. There's the other one. That is where your iPod or iDroid radar comes in handy. It won't tell you what is there, but it will let you know that something is there. Also, animals don't seem to enter this dust. They'll run up to the edge of it and stop. I think that step was the Lord of the Dust. Yeah, that's Lord of Dust moving around. Another way you can tell the Lord of Dust is near, but before you hear its footsteps, and, well, feel its footsteps as you can see it, the screen wobbling, is the fact that it will step on any wanderers that are nearby. Anyway, this is the Lord of Dust. Experiment. That's interesting. And it doesn't even notice it. This is the tail of it, and it's got a head too, although not something that would remind you of an animal. I guess you could say it has two ends. But there are appendages at the front of it as well, so... As to what that creature is moving around towards, I don't know. As far as I could tell, it just moves around on a set pattern. Also, there are other interesting things too. It doesn't seem like these wanderers work together, or wanderers of two different types. These being two like types might be working together, but it could also be said that they're more like zombies, where the only reason they're attacking is because one of them made noise and they're moving towards the noise. But what I'm getting at is that there's two animal type wanderers as well as two animal types if you count the Lord of Dust, and two humanoid types. These regular wanderers and bombers. But when regular wanderers are alerted, it doesn't seem like the animal ones are alerted. That's what I mean by it does not seem like they communicate. Plus the fact that wanderers don't get out of the way of the Lord of Dust, and the Lord of Dust continually stomps on them should they get in the way. As for the other two types of animal wanderers, one of them It looks like a mutated mosquito. And the other, a mutated spider. And I've seen instances where wanderers will shout out, but
I detect that you're hungry. Your
those
mission
two types
requires
of
that you
wanderers
look
don't
after yourself,
respond at
Captain.
all. And I've also seen instances of where those animal wanderers respond, but then the humanoid wanderers don't. For instance, the mosquito wanderer will fire at you. Some type of barb projectile, maybe. But while they get alerted, the wanderers don't. They also don't screech out, which could be why the other wanderers don't really respond at all. As for the spider one, I haven't seen the spider in proximity with any of the other wanderers to observe any reaction from them. Bombers don't make noise either, and they're also a liability to any regular wanderers around because of their ability to explode. In other words, they do not coordinate those explosions. I may have to get out of here in a hurry. The dust is starting to affect them. It's gonna be noisy. But it should be fun. It's a balloon trap. That fence will hold them long enough. Fastest way is to go this way. I just hope I didn't wait too long.
You're nearly out of oxygen. Supply yourself with oxygen by using Kuban energy.
There's Keybon, but I can't afford to place him down. And that's mostly because he doesn't have an oxygen mask. The only fortunate thing is he doesn't start taking damage already.